Hey, good morning. So I'm a little bit later today. It was took a little bit of time to rouse myself, and then I had to assist the wife and children with getting them into the vehicle to be transported to my in-laws' home to be watched today. Not my wife, my two kids. I mean, she took them there, but she's not going to be watched today. She's coming back, but that was a little bit of a delay. That caused a little bit of and it's icy. It's really icy. I had to make my way. We both had to make our way down an icy driveway and steps and to get him into the car. So that took some time. So apologize for the delay. I had to get started by 7:30 or so. So I hope we don't write any complaints in to the customer service line. But enough of this back and forth. We're gonna go right into the read because it was actually pretty neat. All right, when I came out and got the paper, or when I went down to the drive to get it, it was all covered in ice. The whole thing was kind of almost like a shield, yeah. It's just I had pat it down to break off the ice, but now it's here, ice-free and ready to read. So what do you say we open it up and start separating our sections and get the show on the road? Hope you're excited about your Friday, February 19th, 2021. It's a good day, generally, because, you're heading into the weekend. I mean, it's got to boost spirits, even if it's icy, even if it's cold, even if you're in the middle of a pandemic and you have limited options for your weekend activities, especially when there's ice in the ground, snow piles everywhere, etc. It's still the weekend, right? So let's hold on to that notion. And let's do a weekend leading into the weekend read. Front cover as we separate sections. A picture of a downtrodden, it looks like, solo Wentz making his way across a barren field on his way to the Colts. We'll read more about that in sports, sure. I might get some text today that might interrupt this read. Just because, got a lot of people depending upon my attention and skills. All right, the region. Being somewhat facetious, but somewhat not, We all have people that need us. And it's good for us to be available to them. Even if we're in the middle of reading a newspaper live to the universe. Life. And sports. The last turnover. Ouch. Ouch, sports section. Inquirer. Tough headline. All right. We want to do sports because that's how we do. Right? We go into sports. So, he's gone. All that chatter, all that back and forth, all that prognosticating, done for a third round pick, right? And a second rounder, and the third rounder could potentially become a first rounder. I was reading if Carson Wentz plays 75% of the snaps at Indy, or if he plays 70% of the snaps and they go to the playoffs, that could be turned into a first rounder. So what's the take? What are the takes? The first two here on the underneath that picture. You got Mike Silsky, Eagles just misread player and man, and then you got Jeff McLean, dark day for Harry Roseman. And then you got another thing here. Bottom. Carson's stats. By the numbers. He was 35, 32-1 as a starter here in Philly. It's not a good line. It's just not. So, what do you expect? He had 0 playoff wins. Only 2 of his 5 seasons did he play all 16 games. When you look at the numbers, when you think about the whole situation, it's like pretty clear what had to go down to me. And people are not going to get off Roseman's butt about the situation, nor should they. Jeff McClain says Howie Roseman wasn't included as part of the trade that sent Carson Wentz to the Indianapolis Colts, despite how many Eagles fans wish it were so. But never has one NFL general manager arguably been as responsible for the cause and effect of dealing a franchise quarterback. 5 years ago, Roseman surrendered 5 draft picks and 3 players, an unprecedented amount, to move up and draft Wentz at number 2. Now we know this, but it's worth repeating because it is pretty nuts how much was given up for Wentz, and then doubling down to sign him to that big contract. 3 years later, he signed him to that big contract, $128 million, $66 million guaranteed. 20 months after that, gave him what was then the largest guarantee ever. Traded the 28-year-old for 2 draft picks while incurring a $33.8 million dead salary cap hit, the largest in league history. All right, well, there's going to be Wentz stuff everywhere. You want to read about Wentz, you know the story. You know where to go or what your favorite place is for those kind of sports takes. So go do your sleuthing, go read your stuff, have fun with it. But Wentz is not here anymore. He's gone. We don't have to keep talking about where's he going, when, how. We can focus on other things like the Flyers being back on the ice. So they actually played hockey last night. They lost in overtime to the Rangers 3-2, but they played hockey. We got a point out of it. All right, quickly going through here on this section, we got Embiid named a starter for the 4th year in a row at the All-Star game. He's franchise first player to be voted to start in 4 consecutive All-Star games since Allen Iverson did it 7 straight times from 2000 to 2006. He was named one of the Eastern Conference starters when the starting 5s for both conferences for the 70th annual All-Star game were announced on TNT's NBA tip-off show. Congratulations, Embiid. Back to that Flyers game, it was the first time in 12 years that neither THRU or Voracek took the ice. It was so strange to see neither of them in the lineup Thursday against the New York Rangers because of the protocol list. It was the first time in just under 12 years the Flyers played a game without neither THRU nor Voracek in the lineup. The last time that happened was March 1st, 2009, at New Jersey, when the Flyers lineup included players such as Mike Knuble, Ryan Perrant, Mike Richards, Aaron Asham, Scotty Upshaw, and Marty Baron. Whoa, some names and blasts in the past, those names, huh? Well, hopefully he'll be back next game. I don't know, though. Playing the Bruins on Lake Tahoe Sunday afternoon. 6 players on the protocol list. Here we go. They're not traveling to Nevada, so never mind. You will not see them on Sunday on Lake Tahoe, on a frozen Lake Tahoe. So you got a spread here. You got a serious spread going on here of Carson Wentz coverage. I said I wasn't going to come back to it, but we are going through the sports section. We are flipping, so I have to acknowledge what's in the paper, and this is an interesting little timeline that they've put together that I do want to look over called, I mean, they love it. I mean, it's just going to sensationalize it to the heart's content. I mean, and they got to sell papers, and it's a heck of a story. I mean, it's a big story in this area, but the rise and fall of Carson Wentz, like it's some 19th century novel or something. Quarterback's time with the Eagles started with great promise, ended with disappointment. And then you got a whole bunch of timelines. Let's go back to 2015. Let's talk about what happened this year, that year. It chronicles Wentz's journey through the Philadelphia Eagles system all the way up to February 18th when he was traded to the Indianapolis Colts for a 2021 third-round pick, conditional second-round pick in 2022. It could become a first-rounder. Marcus Hayes comes in with the take. Wentz's fingerprints at crime scene. He's just not a Wentz fan at all. And he's making sure everyone knows it with most of his columns on the subject. Doubling down time and again. The worst trade in Philadelphia sports history, he calls it. Forced by the most irredeemable and selfish sports villain, not just in the history of the town, but perhaps in the history of sports. Oh, come on, Marcus. Slow down, bro. Slow down. Pump the brakes. He forced a cataclysmically low return trade before he played a down under his new $120 million contract and forced it when his value was lowest. Incredibly, some might consider Wentz a victim, but understand this. The Eagles spent the last 5 years trying to facilitate Wentz's success. All of Wentz's complaints emanated from his behavior, his play, his dissatisfaction, and his insecurities. These issues led him to sabotage the Eagles for the foreseeable future. The Eagles didn't get robbed by the Colts. They got robbed by Carson Wentz. You want to read more about Marcus Hayes' displeasure with Carson Wentz as the man, as a man, as an athlete. Inquirer.com. And then all the way right before we get to the standings, we see a piece on Jalen Hurts. He's in line for the starting QB job now because there's nobody else. But I did see he might talk about bringing some competition in, which is a good thing. So, a lot to read about this Wentz situation if you want to dive more into it, either in the Inquirer or, again, your favorite sports portal. Flyers are now at 8-3-3. Looking at the standings. Sixers, they'll play tonight against the Bulls. 7:30. Okay. All right. I'm look at weather real fast. I mean, like I said, it's icy out there. You got a little wintry mix today. Finally clearing up. Seeing some sun tomorrow. Some sun on Sunday, etc. Going into next week, actually. Oh, that Thursday looks so beautiful, doesn't it? Look at that Thursday. 54 degrees. Bright sunshine. Today's sunset. 5:42. Life. Life. You want to go through life? Okay. Look at this. I don't want to read that story, really. Pass on that. Will a vaccine mean no more quarantining? It's a question that they answer here on the life page. Well, you can read more about that. CDC does say you don't have to, once you're fully vaccinated, you don't need to quarantine if you're exposed to someone with COVID, as long as you meet certain qualifications. Here's what you should know. And then they go on about what you should know. And then first, they break it down per category. Timing matters. The window when you can skip quarantine is short. The rules are different if you're a nursing home resident or a hospital patient. These are the criteria you need to meet for it to be considered safe. It's been at least 2 weeks since you received your second vaccine dose. It's been at least 3 months. It's been less than, sneeze. Excuse me, I'm sorry. It's been less than 3 months since you received your second vaccine dose. You haven't experienced any symptoms since your COVID-19 exposure. You must meet all 3 to forego quarantine. I could use a little bit of CAROLYN time right now. I'm dragging a little bit this morning. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to you today. I'm a little behind the 8 ball. I'm a little tired. I just feel like particularly tired some days. You know, I'm not really sure why. Like, man, I must not have got that REM, as much REM. I must not get as much deep sleep as I needed last night. At some point along the way, I didn't sink down. Only way to kind of bounce back is to read about CAROLYN's take on somebody's issues. That's it. It's a guaranteed bounce back solution. Let's get started. Our family consists of 3 families: my husband and me, our son, his wife, and 2 college-age children, and our daughter, son-in-law, and teenage son. Every other year, we heavily subsidize a family trip to various countries. This year, the gathering is also a celebration of a grandchild graduating from high school. It's nice. It's a little bit of an outlay of cash, though, right? A lot of money going into that trip. Neither family lives close to us. During the past year, one family has never checked in on our well-being, even though COVID-19 has been raging around the country. How has it? It's news to me. Recently, my husband was injured, and they never even asked about him. We also live near the Capitol, and during the riot in Washington, they never checked on our safety. Ditto for the son-in-law. Let's do one of these deals, maybe. Yeah. So you can see my beautiful face in all its glory. My husband and I agree we don't want to subsidize a trip this year, but we're unsure how to say that in a way that doesn't fracture our family or hurt the feelings of the graduating senior. We would appreciate your thoughts. What does CAROLYN say? CAROLYN's answer. I won't defend these families' recent negligence, but I also won't endorse your idea of scrapping the trip out of pique. P-I-Q-U-E. I like the word, but I sometimes have trouble pronouncing it. Pique. Scrapping for COVID-19? Absolutely. You just got a strong message from that your family unity needs some attention. Traveling together is your way of connecting. And the entire foundation of your question seems to be that staying connected to is really important to you. So think goals, not self-defeating retribution. You want the effort to go both ways, understandably. But unless you know more about why they've gone silent, it's possible they're among the millions, roughly, everybody's who have been resoundingly not at their best through this mess. So if you're open to even the slimmest justification for granting blanket forgiveness and starting over, there it is for seizing. I also hope you'll take a deep breath and talk to your kids calmly and directly. Check on their well-being as you wish they'd have done for you. When you feel lost, treating others as you hope to be treated is true north. And if you think it would help to know the reasons they've been distant, then ask them. And finally, invite them to use this pandemic disruption to rethink the family trips. Do they still want them? Same schedule? Are their kids still game? Are they joys or obligations? Grant them immunity from hard feelings in return for telling the truth. Alright. There's an answer for you. There's an answer to a question. Take it as you will. Now we're going to move to scope. Scorp. Coming at you. Right now. 3 stars for the Scorps. Today brings a glimpse into the motivations of others at work. Prepare for secrets to come to light. Explore long-term financial strategies. Oh. Secrets to come to light. Uh-oh. What's that mean? It's ominous. I feel pretty satisfied and safe with my situation. Secrets, I'm too concerned, but we'll find out as the day progresses. There's your horoscope. Does that apply to you? Any Scorpios? Do you feel like you have any secrets that are about to come to light? About to be shed a light on? Wow. Best be ready to deal with that fallout, according to Madeline Aslan. All right. Flipping through the comics now in the life section. Woo! And getting to the end of it. Region time. Let's go. Parents, ready to reopen. Feel dismissed. Man, saga. It's gonna keep going. As well it should. You know? Jonna Little works overnights, finishing her shift just before 6 a.m. This is Kristen Grandpiece. By 8:05, she's sitting next to her son, helping him log on to his laptop for first grade at Shawmont Elementary in Roxborough. Samir is bright, but needs help staying on track for virtual school. So Little spends her days with him. Little does her best and catches cat naps when she can, but she's exhausted all the time and worried that her boy is missing too much by not being in the same room with his teachers. Samir is one of 9,000 Philadelphia students scheduled to return to Shawmont on March 1st. The reopening is up in the air amid a standoff between the district and city teachers, who say schools aren't yet safe to return. Across the country, parents are generally becoming more comfortable with the idea of their children returning to in-person school. One national poll released last month found that about 46% of all parents were very or somewhat comfortable with their children returning to buildings, an increase from a few months before. Another full poll found a plurality of Americans, 47%, said the reopening of schools in their community is happening at just the right pace, with 27% saying it's not happening quickly enough and 18% too quickly. But the reopening calculus in urban districts is different. You getting there? Families of color often lack trust in school systems that have failed them for decades, and the Philadelphia School District's long history of buildings with environmental problems weighs on many parents' minds. Still, Little is hopeful she'll soon be able to drop Samir off at school. She said school staff have assured her the conditions are right for return, and she hopes her son can make up some of the academic ground she worries he's lost. Parents are very excited, she said. Virtual learning is, quote, a lot on parents. Lexi Peskin's third grader isn't eligible to return to school yet, but she's frustrated by pushback around reopening and afraid what it means for her daughter's prospects of returning to McCall Elementary in Center City. Quote, I'm getting increasingly worried that we're never going to be in school, Peskin said. I think my daughter's teachers is working extremely hard. I don't think she's slacking or not taking this seriously, said Peskin. I just think the medium doesn't work, and I think the union knows it doesn't work. We need to come up with a solution. And just saying this other district has more resources is not a solution, said Peskin. There's a lot more here, but the whole gist I'm getting is like parents are a little bit like frustrated. Put their kids back in school, and like That's like completely obvious. So you can read more about that on Inquirer.com. Fast blast. Up to 10 inches of snow piling up quickly. Hits the region. Some pictures. Snow in the area. It's a guy cruising down the street in his skis. Where is he? Front and Master Streets in Fishtown. It's Michelle Lipson. How's a woman? I apologize. There she is. Some other pictures. No, a suit over a dog's death at a daycare is settled. 2019 lawsuit filed by a pet owner whose puppy died while in the care of a Point Breeze doggy daycare has been resolved with an out-of-court settlement. Quote, "To me, what the settlement shows is that dogs aren't just a piece of property," said Tom Minix, 34, who recalled several attorneys advising him that he would not be able to recover more than the cost of his puppy, about $500. While confidential, it's safe to say the settlement award is definitely beyond the property value of a dog. Ooh, said Jordan Stavroski, a Center City catastrophic injury lawyer and animal lover who represented Minix. Quote, "Pets and animals need more rights under the law. In this case is a step in the right direction." Okay. Big article here from Spotlight PA, which is a special kind of feature about Wolf's plan to aid poor school districts by Cynthia Fernandez. If you want to read that, check it out. I'll be reading more about it. Another Philadelphia police officer, like he's up to no good, accused of tampering with records, obstruction, and misapplying entrusted property. He was arrested a day after his retirement. Philly police arrested another one of their own, the fifth such arrest in less than a month, following a year-long internal affairs probe into allegations that a detective had illegally distributed stolen items recovered during police investigations. Detective John Logan, a 32-year member of the department, turned himself in Wednesday on charges of tampering with public records and other charges. All right, Logan. Another guy. Another cop. Getting into trouble. Let's go to OBITS here real fast, okay? What do you think? Do this OBITS real quick. Take a look at some of these people. Some of this went before. What do you think? Here they are. Here's a featured one. Albert M. Greenfield. And here's a couple of them on the side here. It's kind of a you see. Who's that? Dolores Gillespie. What's up, Dolores? Hey, 95. December 11th. She passed. Rest in peace. In her earlier years, she sang leading roles with several opera companies and touring concerts. Julia Kinsley, age 89, passed away on the 13th. She's extremely active with the Stagecrafters Theater in Chestnut Hill. She was both a talented actress and behind-the-scenes persona. Rest in peace, Julia. John Felix DeFelice, age 72. Rest in peace. All right. Everyone here, Todd Bostwick, you rest in peace. He's asking, they're asking people to make donations to the American Heart Association or to the Phillies charities. Hope you're all calm, serene, warm as well. All right, so we're going to close down region here. Finish her off with front section. Okay. See that? More follow-up here on the Olney shooting. Broad and Olney we talked about, where the 8 people were shot yesterday. It's both shocking and numbing. Shootings are outpacing even last year's high count. One of those shots said there are no solutions. That's Chris Palmer, Mike Newell, and Dylan Purcell, if you want to read that piece. It was Philly's most violent episode of a bloody 2021. Les Bowen gets this this front cover piece on Wentz. We just looked at earlier. He gets the byline on that front piece. Grocery workers awaiting shots. Pennsylvania is one of only 13 states that currently allowed food store employees to get vaccinated, so they're looking to get vaccinated. A lot of stuff in here. U.S. life expectancy shrinks in the pandemic. The average span fell by a year in the first half of 2020, the largest decline recorded since World War II. Quote, "This is a huge decline," said Robert Anderson, who oversees the numbers for the CDC. Quote, "You have to go back to World War II, the 1940s, to find a decline like this." Communities of color suffered the biggest impact, with Black Americans losing nearly 3 years, and Hispanics nearly 2 years, according to preliminary estimates Thursday from the CDC. Phew. It's like one body blow after another with this news coming at you. It's just how about this guy? How about this punk? Here he comes. Coming back from Cancun. Oh, my me. What's the big deal? I just wanted to get a couple drinks in me. I wanted to get the buffet. I wanted to hang out by the pool in the warm sunshine while my constituents didn't have any water to drink. No heat. What's the problem? Nah, it looks bad. Surprised. Surprised to me. I thought it was going to be fine. Cruz returns to frosty reception. Texas Senator flew to Mexico as his state endured power outages and frigid temperatures. Come on, man. Have some wherewithal. He says his daughter asked him to go. Daddy, I want to get out of here. It's too cold. Can't we just go to Mexico? Come on, Daddy. Here's what I would have said. Yeah, maybe you can go with Mom, but I got to stay here. It's going to look really bad if I'm in the airport trying to get on a plane. My state's like in a national emergency or state of emergency. I get like wanting to appease your daughter. I totally get that, wanting to be a family man, but no, it's not the time, man. You got to get through this. You got to get through this issue with your state, and then you can go. Speaking of which, it's right above that column on Cruz. Is this update on Texas? Allergies ease, but water woes grow. That's an Associated Press piece. You can find that elsewhere by Paul Weber, Jill Bleed. A lot of stuff. A lot of good stuff. Said there's a flagship store of a giant supermarket chain, 65,000 square foot store, going to open on North 23rd in Center Street in Center City. Place to get your groceries. You need some groceries. That's near 23rd in Center City. It's a big store. Okay. Now we get to your special. Today's letter column. Today's letter. We have Diversity Audit Signals Progress Reversed by Linda White Moore. Wincoat, Fred Berg, proposed water department rate increase. Same thing with Dan Drexich. He also takes on the water department rate increase. Pride in our system. Len Perriman. And Noel Smythe. Havertown. To me shows political courage. Let's be the diversity audit. Okay? Great. The diversity audit of the Inquirer hit my inbox last Friday, a day when its findings were painful for me to read. Quote, the Inquirer has an overwhelmingly white newsroom, the story declared, and fails to retain journalists of color, resulting in news coverage that overrepresents people who are white and male. That's disgraceful in a city now predominantly black and brown. Friday was the 5th anniversary of the death of my husband, Aisel Moore, who worked for 4 decades at the Inquirer, retiring as Associate Editor Emeritus in 2005. I recognize that name, actually. He dedicated himself to writing about everyday Philadelphians and to bringing people of color into journalism. An Inquirer High School journalism program he started bears his name. He was a founder of both the Philadelphia Association of Black Journalists and the National Association of Black Journalists. The progress made by Aisel and others is being reversed, bringing to mind a key finding in the Kerner Commission report, which investigated causes of urban unrest in the 1960s. Quote, the press has too long basked in the white world, looking out of it, if at all, with white men's eyes and white perspective. That is no longer good enough. Still isn't, more than 50 years later. The need for change is urgent. Failure to serve the information needs of our diverse city and region can only exacerbate declining revenues and readership that threaten the future of the Inquirer and newspapers everywhere. That's good. Well done, Linda Wright Moore. Wincoat. Let's go to the featured op-eds. We got a Marc Thiessan piece today about Governor Andrew Cuomo. That he hid the COVID data, but it's worse than just a cover-up, according to Thiessan, who we know is slants right. It's fine, but we just know that. We have Solomon Jones. Officers, quote, restraint at Capitol, no win for racist America. When it's a black child, officers have to kill him because it's a split-second decision, and his humanity is not an issue, according to Solomon Jones. When I saw the CNN headline about the heroism of police during the U.S. Capitol insurrection, I did a double take because I wasn't sure I read it quite correctly. Quote, new radio and video footage from Capitol riot shows a coordinated attack and officers' restraint, it said. In that moment, the anger I felt was visceral. You want to learn more about that anger that he had? Solomon Jones, Inquirer.com. Lastly, we're going to look at this pro and con. They do a pro and con every now and again in the Inquirer, and they say, hey, you take a position on this side of the issue, and you take a position on that side of the issue, and then we'll debate it in a column. And then you can send letters to letters@Inquirer.com about how you feel. And today's issue is, should PA increase education funding by raising taxes? Yes, underfunded schools, bad for students' futures. No, more money won't help in a broken system. Yes is Laura Boyce. She's the Pennsylvania Executive Director of Teach Plus. And no is Jennifer Stefano, Vice President and Chief Strategy Officer of the Commonwealth Foundation, and Vice Chair of Broad and Liberty. So if you want to figure out what side you stand on, I know what side I stand on. Yes. I'll leave it at that. I want to read this in more detail, both sides, because that's how I operate. I try to get informed on all sides of the issue. I'll read this on my own time, but if you'd like to read it, again, Inquirer.com, and search for pro-con, should PA increase education funding by raising taxes? Governor Wolf's 2021 budget proposal put education at its center, featuring an extra $1.5 billion for public schools paid for by raising personal income taxes. While officials say the plan includes state tax credits that would exempt 2/3 of Pennsylvanians from the tax bump, Republican state legislators immediately pushed back against what they declared a middle-class tax increase. The Inquirer turned to the head of a teacher development nonprofit and a Commonwealth Foundation leader to debate the issue. And with that, we close this edition of the Philadelphia Inquirer. Oh. All right, enough. Thanks for that. Thanks for stopping by today. Thanks for looking through the paper with me. Let you enjoy the rest of your Friday. Take it easy. Be careful out there. Make sure you mobilize and stabilize if you are, wandering on icy roadways and walkways. And then I will see you tomorrow for a Saturday read around 8:30, 9 o'clock. So then, have a great day.